We're delighted to be joined now by Deputy Editor of The Spectator, good friend of mine, Freddy Gray. A very good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jeremy. Lovely to see you.
And you, my friend. So, Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer are about to go head-to-head in never mind the ballots. Harry Cole and Sun readers and viewers, really, trying to drill into these people and get some specific answers. Sunak, I'd love your quick response to these. He says, you've got 10 days left to stop a Starmer supermajority. Not, I'm going to spend the next 10 days, Freddie, trying to explain to the British electorate where the money's going to come from for Starmer, because it doesn't add up. The IFS have just said that. I don't understand it. This is such a shambles, this approach, I think, from the Tories, that they haven't held Labour to task, have they?
Well, it's what somebody you and I have talked a lot about in recent months, Donald Trump would call loser talk. And even if you are going to lose, you shouldn't really campaign on a message, which is effectively what Rishi Sunak is doing now, which is campaign on messages, which is, I know you don't like us, I know you don't like me, but let's not give Labour a supermajority. The problem is, even though a lot of people don't want a Labour supermajority, a lot of people are very tempted by reform. And that is why Labour probably will have a supermajority. And it's why the Tories have always been so terrified, as Nigel Farage has always said, and Richard Tice has always said, terrified of reform, because they really can destroy the Tories. And it looks at the moment as though that's the way it's going.
Do you think anything can change briefly at all in the next 2 weeks, 10 days, whatever it is?
There's always a possibility of some great shock to the system, the political system. So you can't rule that out, but I can't see it at the moment, because it only seems to be going one way. And every time you think the Tories might be able to find some momentum, I mean, today they could, in theory, have got some momentum out of this trans story, even though it's a little bit thin. It's attacking Labour on being a bit woke on trans stuff in schools. The problem is everyone's still talking about the gambling story.
Well, I was going to say the gambling watchdog has widened this inquiry. I love your response. I mean, this is just, honest to God, man. I keep saying it. People that are phoning this show want to know about what their taxes are going to be like under Starmer. And of course, every time a Tory could even begin to think about getting on the front foot, now we've got this. 5 of them today. I mean, this is an appalling look, Freddie, isn't it? Appalling.
Well, we all needed a useful bet on this election to pay for the taxes that Labour are going to impose on us. I don't think, I mean, my personal view on this is actually, I think, even though I like betting, I think that markets like this are so inherently corrupt. It's like next footballer manager markets in football. There's always something fishy going on there.
Yeah.
Anything which is that prone to insider knowledge is open to corruption.
But does it not say very little with respect? I mean, he spent a lot of time criticising Boris Johnson's character, quite rightly, in terms of Partygate, and make this whole thing about he was in charge of the whole building, blah, blah, blah. The fact is that 5 people closest to Rishi Sunak have all had a bet. That doesn't make him look very good, Freddie, does it?
No, and it shows a failure of leadership on his part. It doesn't reflect on him badly directly in terms of his own morality, but it certainly reflects badly on his leadership and the fact that people thought, oh, I might just make a few quid here. And that's another thing that's so pathetic about it. It's wrong-headed to say it, but if people are going to be corrupt, why be corrupt for such relatively small sums of money for such cheap wins?
If I had 4-1 that it was going to be July the 4th and I thought I was going to get into trouble, you'd put a bit more than 100 quid. Finally, only you can do this. We love you for this, Freddy Gray. This is the story before we get to never mind the ballots. Is milk racist? A taxpayer-funded project is set to research connections between milk and colonialism. It was revealed yesterday. Academics at an Oxford museum, of course, will research the political nature of milk and its colonial legacies. One of the experts involved has previously argued that milk is a North European obsession that has been imposed on other parts of the world. Could you please explain to me what a load of old rubbish that is?
I have always found milk to be dangerously racist.
Is it because it's white?
It's because it's white, yes.
Right.
No, I actually, this story touched a nerve with me because my wife forced me to do one of these silly blood tests. You sort of take a prick of blood and you send it off and the lab tells you what you're allergic to. I've just found out that I'm lactose intolerant.
Oh.
So I too am a victim of the oppressive cow's milk, which is spreading everywhere. No, in all seriousness, Jeremy, it's obviously a completely stupid story. We're always having to deal with these stupid
I
stories.
mean,
And
this
I
is
also,
ludicrous, man, and this isn't going to go away. But of course, I got thinking when I was watching this: is milk racist? What about chocolate milk then? What about
uh,
banana milk? What about strawberry milk? What about what about oat milk? What about all these other? What is that? So is chocolate milk racist?
chocolate milk, it could be racist
Yeah,
if you want it to be.
yeah.
I've been always suspicious of flavored milks, particularly strawberry milk.
Why?
I think
Flavoured milk's lovely. It makes you feel like you're being healthy when you're actually not.
I like your opinion on what's healthy.
If it was down to you, Freddie Gray, Deputy Editor of The Spectator, very quickly to finish, what question at Never Mind the Ballots would you ask Sunak and then Starmer? Very briefly, 1 minute. What would you ask them separately?
I would like to ask Rishi Sunak what day he would leave Britain if he loses this election. And on Keir Starmer, I would say how many people who were initially appointed by Tony Blair are going to be in your administration?
Do you believe that he's going down the Blair road, Starmer? Do you think that, for example, hear me out, we talk about the size of the tent. Momentum is still inside the Labour Party. Do you not, like me, think that if he does win supermajority or not, that actually the pressure from all sides of this massive organisation is going to come to bear very quickly?
I think so. I think we think the Tories hate each other and the Tory tribes and so on. I think that within a few weeks of a Labour administration, you're going to see them tearing each other apart quite quickly.
Listen, we'll watch with fascination. It's always a pleasure to have you on, Freddie. We'll speak to you very soon. Freddie Gray, thank you, my friend, Deputy Editor of The Spectator.